Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today for this yoga practice. I am practicing with a group from Breastfriends located in Tigard, Oregon. So if you or anyone you know could use some support during a breast cancer journey, whether you've just been diagnosed or you're 10 years in remission or anywhere else along the way, they are a wonderful group to support you and very, very responsive. Their contact information is linked in the description box below. Today I'm practicing from a chair, but I'm going to offer options for those of you who would like to practice from your yoga mat. So let's all go ahead and come to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. So whether you're sitting with your legs crossed or out straight on the floor, or you're sitting in a chair, just find yourself a place where you can feel your sit bones evenly on the support that you're sitting on, where you can feel your feet on the ground, whether that is the soles of your feet or your heels or your ankles, whatever part of your body is contacting your support. And feeling the ground, the support underneath you is a really great way of getting grounded into the present moment. So we do have a tendency to live up in our thinking mind, making plans, checking off mental lists, ruminating about things that have happened in the past, having a little anxiety about things that might happen in the future. And those things may be true and may be happening and may have happened. But for this time that we have together, I invite you to be fully present here in this moment. So feeling your body supported, maybe begin to close your eyes so that you can come inward a bit. And just take the time to notice that very next inhale. You might notice it in your body, in your belly, in your chest, maybe at the end of your nose. And then with your next exhales, allow yourself to soften, allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to really just be aware of the breath, being in your body. And then let's go ahead and take one hand and then the other right here over the heart. And here, as you inhale, let your hands feel lifted as your chest expands. And let your shoulders soften as the exhale leaves your body. And here you might imagine that you have a hot air balloon in your chest. And as you inhale, that balloon is filling up. And as you exhale, the air is leaving the balloon. So with the thinking about the balloon, it's a round object. So maybe not just feeling the breath here in the front of the chest, but also out into the shoulders and between your shoulder blades. Just a couple more breaths here, feeling the shoulders expand, feeling your whole upper torso expand and soften with each breath. And then as you're ready, let's move the hands down to the ribs. So we're looking for that breath right here at the diaphragm. So you might put your palms on your outer ribs or maybe the backs of your hands, or it might be easier to bring one hand and then the other right up here underneath the sternum at the front of the belly. And here we want to feel that expansion into the ribs, into the front of the belly, and into the mid back. So even while the chest might still be lifting here, the belly might still be expanding, what we really want to pay attention to is this diaphragmatic breath here as the ribs expand and hug inward. Filling up the front, upper belly, and the middle of the back with each in-breath. And letting that breath soften and hug inward with each out breath. Just a couple more breaths here. And if this is hard on your shoulders or your wrists, you can let go of the hands and simply focus your attention here. Relax your jaw, muscles around your eyes. And then let's bring the hands to the low belly now, under the belly button. Same thing here. We're just focusing on the breath as it occurs in the lower belly. And here it might be helpful to think about the breath as a water balloon. So filling up the breath at the faucet, the water balloon expands, and then removing the balloon from the imaginary faucet, the water comes back out. So just feeling that sensation so that you can also feel your hips expanding and the low back. And again, relaxing the jaw, soften your shoulders. Maybe ease any tension in your forehead or between your brows. Just a couple more breaths right here, just allowing this to be enough. Our breath is our connection to the outer world. So just allowing that outer world to nourish you with your breath. And then as you exhale, you're nourishing the outer world. That play of give and take that we have between our physical human bodies and all of the trees and the plants and the fauna around us. Flora. It's the flora. We're the fauna. And then let's put all that together. It might be nice to have one hand at your belly, one hand at your heart, or you might be ready to just release your hands, palms down or up, whatever feels most comfortable. Let's fill up the whole torso. So inhale, feel your chest lift, your shoulders expand, your ribs expand, your belly and your low back. And exhale, let everything go. Inhale, fill up top to bottom, side to side, front to back. And exhale to release. Just a few more breaths here. With your next inhale, let it be the biggest, broadest, most expansive breath you've had all day. And with your next exhale, let it go. And then we'll just shake it off a little bit here. Shake out your arms. Maybe rock your head from side to side. Just releasing any tension. You might wiggle your shoulders and shake out one leg and then another. And then coming back to your tall seat, let's get a little bit of movement here, and we'll add some of the breath practice that we just did to those movements. So first, let's just get some movement in the neck. Sitting up nice and tall, draw your shoulders down and back, and let's just let that right ear come towards the right shoulder. And then bring your head back up to center and let the left ear come towards the left shoulder. We'll just go kind of side to side here, saying hello to the sides of the neck. And the next time the right ear comes towards the right shoulder, let's just hang out there and breathe. Now, if you want to add back the 3-part breath we just practiced, you can do that here. It might be interesting to just focus on the hot air balloon breath at the upper shoulders and the upper chest. Just noticing how that feels in your neck. One more inhale here. And as you exhale, let your chin roll down towards your chest. And then inhale to bring your head right back up to the top of your spine. And then let's take the left ear towards the left shoulder. Breathing here, your breath, your pace. Relaxing the jaw, the skin around the eyes. One more inhale here on this side, and then let's exhale. Bring your chin down towards your heart and right back up to the top of your spine. And then hands again at the heart. Let's inhale, lift your chin up towards the sky and breathe a couple breaths here as you again rock your ears from side to side. And then bringing your head back to neutral, release your hands. And here, keep your shoulders right where they are, but we're once again gonna let the chin come down towards the chest. Getting a stretch in the back of the neck, the upper shoulders, and again, rocking those ears gently from side to side. I'm just exploring what there is to explore. We'll bring the head back up to the top of the spine. And then with your next inhale, just draw your shoulders up towards your ears. And as you exhale, loop them back and down. Inhale, nice and slow, gentle movements here. And exhale, shoulders back and down. Let's just do that a couple more times. Just saying hello to those shoulders. And then let's bring our arms parallel to the ground, palms facing one another, thumbs pointing up towards the sky. Hug your elbows in towards your ribs. And as you inhale here, open up your arms, keeping those elbows anchored to your ribs. And as you exhale, draw them back to parallel. Inhale, open up. Exhale back towards center. And as you continue to move here, kind of as you open up, draw your shoulder blades towards one another. And as you bring your arms back to parallel, just let them soften. Now, you might like to stay with this movement here, or you might like to get a little bit more range of motion into your spine. So maybe the next time you open up, you take kind of a cow spine, arching your back and looking up towards the sky. And as you exhale, you might reach forward, draw your belly button back and your chin towards your chest. Inhale to open up as much as it feels good to you. And I'll show you from the side here in our cow pose. We're arching the spine, looking up. And in our cat pose, we're rounding the spine, looking down. So just as much as that feels good to you, we don't want to push past any healthy boundaries. We're just finding that first edge of sensation and honoring that edge, honoring that healthy boundary. Let's just do 2 more rounds here. One more time here. And then with your next inhale, come all the way back up to your neutral spine. Relax your hands once again in your lap. And just take a moment to notice how you're feeling, how your body's feeling, maybe a new sense of aliveness as things start to wake up, maybe some tingling or warmth. And then let's get some movement here in the wrists. We're just going to make some circles here. If you're sitting on the floor cross-legged, you might like to adjust your cross of your legs and reverse your circles in your wrists. And then let's kind of point and flex the fingers here. So maybe like that old stop in the name of love. Oh, someone's raising a hand. If you want to unmute and ask a question, feel free to do that. Too far away to see the comments. So we're just going to press the fingers up and lower them down. And then here, we're going to just spread the fingers out wide and then draw them together, kind of like a flat hand. So just spreading them out and drawing them in, spreading them out and drawing them in. And then here, kind of like a little shadow puppet, we're going to bring all the fingers and thumb tips together and then open, together, and then open, together, and then open. And then we'll curl the fingers in and open them up nice and wide. And you can have your arms up high or low, whatever makes sense for you. Beautiful. And then let's get a little bit more movement. We're just going to sit up nice and tall here, hands resting on your thighs or knees. We're just going to make some circles here. So you might imagine you have a laser beam on the top of your head and you're making some imaginary circles on your ceiling. Just moving nice and slow. And if you want to involve a little bit of that cat and cow motion as you come around, feel free to do that as well. So that might look a little bit like coming forward into cow and circling back into cat. Breathing your breath, moving at your own pace. And then let's reverse those circles. Want to get about an even amount in the same direction. I'm not super big on counting repetitions in yoga. Just feeling what feels best in your body, feels even and balanced. And when you feel like you have had enough in each direction, inhale yourself all the way back up to that tall spine. And exhale, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, relax the muscles of your face. And then let's get a little bit of movement in the hips. So if you're sitting, we're just going to pick up our right leg and make some hip circles in one direction and then another. If you want to come to stand, you can hold on to the edge of your chair. I guess I'm not as tall as I thought I was. And from here, make your circles in one direction and then the other, and then switching legs. So circle in one direction. Doesn't matter what direction you start in, just listen to your body, and then the other. And then we're just going to kind of shake out those legs. Now we're all either going, if you're on the floor, stay on the floor, come into a downward dog. If you're on the chair, stand up and either with your hands on the back of the chair or the seat of the chair, will come into a modified downward dog. So hands on your chair, one way or the other. We're just going to walk the feet back and bend one leg and then the other. If you're on the ground, you're doing the same thing from your downward facing dog. And then let's just bend that left knee, straighten the right leg as much as it feels good to you. And take a couple breaths right here, just stretching out the back of that right leg. And then we'll bend the right knee and straighten the left leg as much as it feels good without locking that left knee. And then as you next inhale, come up onto the balls of both feet. Draw your heart back towards your knees. And as you exhale, lower both heels down towards the ground. And you can step back as much as it feels good to you. And here we're just going to open up the armpits. Let the heart sink down towards the ground. Breathe your breath. Maybe taking that 3-part breath here. And with your next inhale, walk your hands forward or walk your feet forward towards your hands. We'll bring the hands to the hips and inhale, press into your feet, come all the way up to standing. And here we'll stand in mountain pose. And if sitting in a chair is better for you today, come to sit in mountain pose. Shoulders over your hips, palms facing forward. Draw the base of your skull up towards the sky. And let's inhale, reach your arms out and up towards the sky. Bring your palms together. And exhale to draw your hands right down towards your heart. And then again, let's let those arms come down and then around and all the way up. Bring your hands together and exhale, hands towards your heart. Let's do that a few more times. And as you come out and up, you could take a little bit of a back bend here, if that feels nice to you. And exhale, hands to heart. Let's do that a couple more times. And maybe here, as you reach your hands up, and if this isn't great for you, you can just use one hand or just imagine that you're doing the movements. Neuroscience shows us that the same parts of the brain light up, whether we're actually doing the movement or just practicing in our minds. So as you're doing this, looking up towards the sky, towards your thumbs, and then watching your thumbs as they come down. And as they circle up and around, watch your hands in your peripheral vision as much as you're able to. What this does is it works with our nervous system, because as we focus, really drilling down, we're in more of an activated nervous system state for action. And as we widen our gaze, we're in a calmer state of our nervous system, so that our nervous system and our bodies can feel safe, can be restored, can be nourished. One more time, let's inhale, reach up. This time, turn the palms out, let your hands float down and either bring them to your hips or to your low back with the fingers pointing down. Or if it's available to you, you can interlace your fingers behind your back. Roll your shoulders down and back. And again, you can do this from your chair, just as much as your chair allows. Your hands can be on the chair. We're going to take a little back bend here. So pressing your hips forward, whether that is from your chair or standing, whatever works best for you. And just taking a couple of breaths there. Pressing into your feet or your seat. Relaxing your jaw and the muscles of your face, squeezing your shoulder blades towards one another. And then inhale back up to a neutral spine. And we're just gonna, if you have clasp hands, we're gonna do that again, but switch the clasp of your hands. So just a slightly different way here. Couple more breaths. Let your hips come forward, your shoulders come back, your throat and collarbones be open. And then use your next inhale to come back up to that neutral spine. And then we're going to come back down to our seat or to the floor. Any way you want to get there. Let's just get a little bit more movement in the lower part of the body here. So we did the wrists and the fingers. So now let's do the ankles and the toes. So you can either send your foot out long, or you can lift your knee up, and we're just going to make some circles here in the right ankle in one direction, and then the other. Point and flex your foot, your toes. And then we're going to spread them out wide and curl them in, kind of like you're trying to pick something up off the floor with your toes. And then we'll set that right foot down, and same thing on the left foot. You can have your leg extended, anchored to the floor, or you can lift your knee up and make your ankle rotations in one direction. And then the other. Point and flex. We don't think about our feet too much, but we have 26 bones in each foot. So 52 bones in both feet is almost half the number of bones we have in our body. And then we'll spread them out wide and curl them in. And everything is on our feet. So let's take care of those feet. Beautiful. And then we'll lower that left foot back down to the ground. And then because we do sit a lot in our current lifestyle here in the Western culture, let's get a little bit into that hip. So you might cross your right ankle over your left, or cross your right knee over the left, or bring your right ankle to the top of that left thigh. Just find that nice tall spine here. This could be more than enough of stretch for some of us. But if you want a little bit more, you could bow over that right shin or knee. And if you're doing this from the ground, you can be sitting up tall or laying on your back, figure four. Just breathing here. Use your next inhale to come back to that tall seat. And then we'll just switch sides. Left ankle over the right, left knee over the right, or left ankle on top of the right thigh. Find what feels good in your body. So maybe that's here. Maybe that's a little bit farther forward. Breathe your breath. And here, it might be kind of interesting to really focus on that low belly breath so that you feel your breath massaging your low back and your hips from the inside out. One more full breath here. And then let's inhale right back up to a tall spine. If you're laying on the ground, feet on the ground, knees pointing up to the sky. If you're in a chair with your feet under your knees, we're just going to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And then let's come into stillness. So if you're on your mat on the ground, you might like to come into Shavasana with the knees bent or straight. If you're sitting in a chair, you might like to scoot back so that your body feels fully supported by your chair, just making sure your feet are still on the ground. And then with your hands resting in your lap, let's come back to that 3-part breath we established at the beginning. So as you next inhale, fill up your chest, front to back, side to side, the rib cage, the low belly. And as you exhale, release. Nice and gentle, relaxing your shoulders, releasing your jaw, letting the tongue release from the roof of your mouth, softening the skin of your forehead and around your eyes. Letting your right leg feel heavy and solid. Really focusing on that right leg. Relaxing, softening, and then noticing the left leg, inviting it to be heavy, solid, soft, and relaxed. And then focusing on the right arm, releasing any tension, any sense of bracing. And then same thing with the left arm. Soft, heavy, fully and completely relaxed. And then just letting go of the breath practice, coming back to your natural breath, breathing in and out of your nose. If you're on the floor, you might like to roll over onto a side and press yourself back up to a seat. Or you could finish right there in Shavasana and stay there for as long as your time allows. Otherwise, for those of us in a seat, let's once more inhale, reach your arms out and up towards the sky. Bring your palms together and exhale, drawing those thumbs right to your forehead, that you would have kind and peaceful thoughts, not just for others, but for yourself. Down to your lips, that you would have kind and peaceful words for yourself as well as for others. And down to meet your hearts, that you would have kind and loving intentions for all beings everywhere. Thank you for joining us today. Namaste.